Welcome to Vice and Easy, your podcast for all things Miami Vice, with your host, Marina. Hello, and welcome back to Vice and Easy. Before we get into this week's episode, Borrasca, I actually wanted to make a-hole correction because I was kind of an a-hole last episode. The actor who portrayed Cruz has a condition called nystagmus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That causes rapid and involuntary eye movements. And I wanted to shout out Thomas Ferrugia on YouTube for pointing that out. So apologies. That was not the kindest judgment of mine I've made, and I do apologize for that. However, I will say that it was very effective in the role. So kudos to him. But let's get into it. This week we are covering Season 5, Episode 5, Borrasca. The IMDb synopsis is as follows. Tubbs and Switek go undercover and pose as drug-dealing middlemen to take down Borrasca, a very dangerous counter-revolutionary who uses drug money to fight the war against communism in his country. I will laugh at this later because the country is Puerto Rubio and it's like Little Carib, is it a Little Havana? Like there's just all these things in the episode that they're alluding to, but they can't actually use, which I kind of find funny. But the episode actually has a really cool cold open. We open up on not Calle Ocho, but Washington Avenue in Miami Beach. And because I've just come back from Miami and I actually did go to Calle Ocho and like went shopping and had a really good tres leches cafecito. I think I mentioned that last time with condensed milk. It was really good and very strong. Highly recommend. But I was like, this definitely does not look like it. This is definitely set dressing. And I've said it before, I'm trying not to pick on season 5, but you can definitely tell the funding has been cut. And I'll bring it up more times in the episode where it's more evident, but you could definitely see, instead of actually filming in Calle Ocho, it is just like very sparsely decorated to kind of give it the feel of Calle Ocho, but I digress. If for those of you who haven't been to Miami or don't know, Calle Ocho is like a very historic Cuban neighborhood of Miami. There's lots of shops, there's lots of cafes, there's lots of touristy stuff, and even like the McDonald's is all done up to celebrate Calle Ocho, and there's Domino's and Panama hats and, cafecitos, just to kind of like really embrace that part of Miami. Like it's very historic. So it's hard to duplicate, I'll put it that way. But let's get into it. I'm just going to keep talking my ear off. We open up on a rooster. And Dogs of War by Pink Floyd playing in the background. So there is this completely obvious drug deal going on in the middle of the street, not behind or in an alley. Nope, we're just going to park my limousine in the middle of the street where all these people are just enjoying their day and make a super obvious drug deal, open the trunk wide, and we see the holder, I hope it's not the owner of the rooster because you'll see what happens to the rooster later, telling the guys to, go do it. Then when they're making this deal, number one, the guy in the car, de la carte, please look at his outfit. Again, go to the gallery that you could see in the episode description notes because it has to be seen to be believed. I also like his companion with the snake band around her arm. I had one in like 2008 that I wore all the time. So kudos to her, trendsetter. And this is how he talks to the guys that are trying to do a deal with him. So, surprise, surprise, this deal is not going to go down well.
There's only 500,000 here.
It's plenty for you, peons. You can have a good time. You can live good here in America. Huh?
Then, when they push back to say that they were promised $500,000, he says, I let you live, peasant. So, surprise, surprise, this is not going to go down well. Again, I took a really good gif of these poor guys just playing dominoes when this guy steps out. And this shoot up begins, but it's just like the guys playing dominoes know exactly what's going on. Just get up and leave the scene really quickly. So obviously there's a big shootout that happens, and the guy Delicart, his limo is shot to bits, blows up. He's crawling out in the street, shot, as one of the goons shoots him. There's another guy, and then we see our rooster guardian holder. This actually disturbed me the most out of the cold open. Not the shooting in the street and the disregard for the poor innocent bystanders just there to, do their daily thing. It was the dropping of the dead rooster on the body. And I wonder if that's his calling card, if that's... Yeah, I was like, what did this poor rooster do? I still haven't figured it out. If you have any theories, please let me know. Because, I was like, that rooster didn't deserve it. After the cold open, Vice is on the scene. I got a really great shot of the sun. I don't want to say it's like twilight, but it's very pink as it's setting. And there's just a blue light radiating. It goes right through, right on top of Switek's shoulder. Just a really cool shot. Talking about what's going down, it turns out this limo was shot up with armor-piercing bullets. It's pretty serious. Trudy has a tape from one of the tourists who was filming, just probably a nice day hanging out until everything went awry. And of course, they're going to make a little quip about it.
Rolling when the shooting started, so there might be something on it.
Maybe it's X-rated.
Ha ha. As they're discussing what went down a little bit more, Castillo hypothesizes that Delicart, he did want to make the buy. So he tells Switek Tubbs to go find the seller. Where's Crockett? We'll find out later. So they head to Raoul's, which, let me interject, this is big, big, big news. I'd always kind of just believed that the Raoul's that they kept mentioning, it was definitely an exterior shot in LA. And I remember I was trying to find on Google Maps, and I'm like, I've driven on Santa Monica Boulevard, like all the way from the ocean all the way inland. And I'm like, I've never seen this place. And the original, like the number that it has, I remember I was looking it up, and it was just like a little kind of hole in the wall in Brentwood, and the building height wasn't the same, but I kind of believed it. So I did some digging because I saw the San Vicente sign, and I was like, okay, this is LA, San Vicente, and it's a green sign, not the standard blue sign in Los Angeles. So I was like, this is number one, not the city of Los Angeles. It's either one of the little cities within Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, what have you, or I got this wrong. So I kept looking and looking and looking, and it turns out it's San Vicente and Santa Monica in West Hollywood. And I'm like, I've driven by there so much. I'll try to drive by this week and take a picture of what it currently looks like. But on Google Maps, if you do go to the corner of San Vicente and Santa Monica, you will see the building, and it still has the glass blocks. It looked to be, it was like a former U.S. bank, kind of like a branch, small work office, that not proper English. I'm so sorry. Yeah, finally, I have finally solved it. So we've covered the exterior of Raoul's. Let's get down to the interior when Switek and Tubbs are talking to the bartender. Basically kind of like trying to strong arm the bartender out of some information. The bartender just kind of gives it up pretty easily and, looks in the direction of a guy who definitely worked for Delicart. They rough him up a little bit, and he mentions the name Borrasca. Who or what does that entail? We're going to find out back at OCB when we're getting a little bit of a background. Borrasca, and especially this guy, Martillo Borrasca, which also stands for like depression, storm, that Tubbs mentions a little bit later, but I didn't get a clip of it, so I want to mention it now. It's also a counter-revolutionary group in the country of Puerto Rubio. One of the guys that was shot on the scene, they post a photo of him. Sorry, they show a photo of him. He was in the police back in Puerto Rubio. Another guy who kind of looks like Matt Dillon, and Trudy agrees with me because she says he's cute. Also, former police member in Puerto Rubio. So now this is all going down in Miami. They also have a lead that a cocaine ship, freighter, if you will, full of cocaine, was stolen earlier. Wonder who that could be, especially since the street value is $100 million. So they figured Borrasca's in on it and that they're, again, using this to fund their fight. How are they going to get that information? As they chat about it, it turns out that Vice really finds it hard to make any inroad in Little Caribe. Little Havana. It is funny, like the Puerto Rubio, the Little Havana, like the Little Caribe instead of Little Havana. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So they can't really use anyone on the team. And where is Sonny? Why this totally not obvious ADR clip of Tubbs telling everybody where he is not fishy at all.
Need an inside line on that ship before they move it.
It's not going to happen anytime soon. Not with us. Not in Little Caribe.
Wish Sonny wasn't up in Pompano preparing to testify. He could really help us.
So, this isn't Vice Tea because I couldn't find anything. I was scouring through my notes and my timeline to see, like, what was Don Johnson doing in October 1988? Was he in, like on vacation, treatment? Was he fighting? Because, yeah, he's just not in this episode at all. I understand that you can definitely see the continuity where Tubbs does not have a beard this episode, what he did right before. So I was like, so definitely maybe he was fighting or kind of like beefing with them about his storyline. I also could believe that it's funding because you can definitely tell that there's less and less funding coming in. I don't know, maybe he was trying to negotiate. So yeah, that ADR is definitely just like tacked in, like, oh, he's preparing to testify in Pompano. Like, I get it, but like they could have said that in the beginning or actually had it been part of the scene. So something went down this episode. I don't know what. My research did not yield any info. So if you know, let me know. You know how I do love gossip. So because none of the Vice team can make any inroads in getting information, Castillo has an idea. And if you are ever retired and someone asks you to do one more job to come out of retirement, don't do it. If there's ever one more job and you have like 2 days left of retirement, it's kind of risky, don't do it. Spoiler. Yeah, this does not end well. He's going to go ask his old friend Arturo, who is now doing like carpentry with an apprentice. He's going to ask him to help. Luckily, Arturo, he is actually able to help, and he connects with some... Sorry, these outfits, just please go. It's exactly what you would expect, like 3 middle-aged men in Miami at a cafe to be wearing. It's like the bowling shirt, a fedora. They look very cute. So, they're chatting about the old days, blah, blah, blah. There was a great shot of them with a fan just kind of providing a little bit more shadow work. So one guy goes up to the bar to get drinks where the other guy is talking to Arturo, and Arturo's kind of, make these promises about the boat, blah, 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 blah. If I get it, I'll split it with you. And the other guy who's getting up to get drinks looks a little bit suspicious. So let's cut down to see what actually happens on this boat. We see a beautiful woman dressed to the nines, like in a full cocktail dress, jewelry, heels and everything, go up to this boat. We get a great shot of her talking to Borrasca and some assorted goons.
Hired goons?
They're discussing this deal, as you can see, like the fisheye glass that Arturo's standing right by. Arturo, again, retired detective. However, bad luck is bad luck. There's some kind of piece of metal. He kicks or steps on something. Obviously, everybody hears it and jumps off the boat. When some of the goons are looking off the edge, wondering who it could be, the guy from the bar, the one buying drinks, the one who was already kind of suspicious of Arturo, figures he knows who it is. We get another shot of Arturo and his apprentice. doing some carpentry stuff. Arturo looking great with a cigarette and a bandana. Then we see a guy walk in with a giant machete. Not the machetes are like known to be tiny, but this just looks bad. Like that's the best picture I could get of it. Just it was so hard to get a solid shot of that. So yeah, suffice it to say, it is not a good end. And when Vice is on the scene, Castillo is standing by bloody handprints of his friend, who he convinced to do one last job to come out of retirement. Don't do it. Retire and stay there. Don't take on that one last job, as you can see from this. Oh my God. They obviously don't make it super gory, but Switek is outside gagging. I can't even imagine the smell. I can't even imagine how awful that is. So yeah, if that's not a warning, I don't know what else is. So it turns out they're going to have to use Vice and have Vice get a little bit closer now that they know what's going on. So that beautiful woman who looked a little bit out of place on the boat is also the owner of a club that is connected to just like an old school garage, as you can see in the pictures. So kind of funny. This just made me LOL because I don't... The interior is definitely, looks like the theater that they actually filmed it at, the Paris theater that they mentioned in Miami Beach. But the outside, I was like, did they just find like kind of like a shop? It's not like a sexy garage because it doesn't look like a business garage. You know how, like, I'm not describing this well. If you can't tell, my brain is a little bit fried and my voice is a little bit fried. So, yeah, it just looks kind of funny. It just looks like it's next to a residential garage. But I digress. It's called Paris Modern. She is very, very, very beautiful. Very enchanting. So, obviously Tubbs and Switek go in to kind of scope it out. And as they're walking, again, across the garage, which is so funny, they run into some of Borrasca's goons that they want to do business with. When the guy who kind of looks like Matt Dillon kind of gives him a little bit of lip, Tubbs pulls a knife on him. I believe it's not only just giving him a little bit of lip, but he kind of like pushes him. No, what does he do? He like shoves garbage. Yeah, it's very disrespectful. He gets a knife pulled on him.
We don't do business with you two.
Why am I do that again? You understand? Let me tell you something, friend. Some street punk in New York touched me there once. You know what I did? I had to carve a new face for that sucker. We understand each other? Goons. You want to move some dope? We can move it.
Ooh, and Davila, the Matt Dillon looking guy, says that he'll talk to his boss. Let's see what will happen with that. Also, I totally missed going over my notes. This will become more evident later on this season. There are a gang of youths that Tubbs and Switek are walking by in an earlier scene where Switek makes two calls. One to Gina to check in, and the other...
Yeah, it's the bug.
Box the 3, the 5, and the 7 and the 8. For a nickel. Right.
Yeah. So they're planting the seeds now that he has a gambling problem. And then this is further explained because he doesn't tell the truth to Tubbs. He goes along to what Tubbs assumes is a new crush.
Hey, it's a different world down here, isn't it?
Yeah, but she's worth stopping for, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one, she's real trouble, man. She's got brains, looks.
I don't think they're going to make Switek happen after kind of underwriting him for so many seasons. Again, I do like Michael Talbot, and I'd like to see this story, but so like him trying to... I'm laughing at his outfit. You'll see later on the episode. Oh my God. But until then, as let's rewind a little bit because I got a little bit out of order. I do apologize. Tubbs and Switek are again walking off after having this, hopeful relationship with the Villa and later on with Borrasca, that they can get closer to him. This very sleazy, kind of greasy, tanned guy stops them.
Like you should be spinning with a couple of hot senoritas instead of hassling with Borrasca slimes.
You got something to say? Say it.
Oh, the intense, passionate, dumb type.
Then more goons jump out, as you can hear, and start beating up on Switek and Tubbs. But there's a really good gif of Switek putting one of their heads through the window of a limo. So good for him. As I was just saying, like they've been underwriting him, but at least they're giving him a little bit more to work with. But I think it's a little too late. But the one thing that's interesting about this guy also, he's a great actor. He's definitely a very great character actor. All the way back to Blade Runner, the Fifth Element, is that he just gets under my skin. He very much reminds me of an adversary. So he gets worse on the episode, but great acting is what I mean. Like worse for the soul, but great performance. But as he kind of bids them farewell, he mentions Marty, not Martin Castillo. A message, definitely. One that's definitely going to get back to Marty, and we're going to figure out what that is. But long story short, let's go back and check in with Tubbs and Switek as they are now on the beach. And this is why I've been laughing hysterically, because the picture after the gif of the head through the limo. Oh my God, I'm trying not to laugh too hard. So Tubbs and Switek are at the beach. They're going to meet with Ramos, who, again, they were going to make a deal with. So he told them he'd be in a beach chair, that they were going to meet him. Tubbs in a black suit. I do like the cut of this suit, too, if you can see that in the gallery. Switek is also in a suit, but with a black duster. This was filmed around the end of October in Miami. I understand it's not the peak of summer, but a black duster on the beach. It's not leather. So I guess I could say it's more like a trench coat, but it's so Oh, and then they discover Ramos has been shot with a hat covering the bullet hole on the beach. So something's definitely going on. But they meet up on the beach and they meet up with Trudy to kind of see if Trudy can get them a little bit more intel. But again, they're kind of keeping the comedic relief in there too.
Getting hot in this outfit. Yeah, but you look good.
Orange juice.
Trudy also has a little bit of insider information that there wasn't that much on his person. So doesn't really seem like a robbery, and especially the way that the body was shot, covered up, all seems a little bit weird. But Switek and Tubbs also have some more work to do, so they're going to keep their cool as the beautiful owner of the club, Lucia, goes to meet with them. Again, showing up, says that she's got good news that she can set up a meeting with Borrasca. And then there is like a slow zoom shot. And they do this a couple times this episode. And yeah, it just kind of looks really cheesy. Again, I took a gif of it that you can see. Just, I don't know. She's so beautiful. I don't think... It's like the glasses are kind of heart-shaped, kind of like those Lolita glasses. But you could just focus on the glasses and not do like the weird zoom shot. They do it again with her. And I understand she's beautiful. You want to zoom in on that face. But you can do it in a better way. Castillo is... This is a great scene. I took so many pictures and so many gifs of it because old school computer scene with the green light illuminating his face as he's trying to get a little bit more info on Reese. first of all, we have a little foreshadowing when the code he enters is Freefall, Faith, Firestorm.
Message!
Freefall is the name of this series finale. Also, the way he enters in the name bugs me too. So the computer asks, how may I help you? To access files, Borrasca Martillo, makes sense, last name, comma, first name. Then Lucia, comma, Meron. Okay, first name, comma, last name. Then Edward Reese. So every name is entered in differently. And they're zooming in on this. Like, this is a camera shot. It's not like, sometimes I'll like zoom in on the newspaper article or something and see what the prop team has done. Like, no, come on, guys. So he's asking for those 3 files, but the first one that comes up is Reese. Definitely not a great guy. Has experience working, it seems to be, with the CIA, and that his work abroad. You see Noriega, you see Iran, but I did not include that in the screenshot. I just got the one screenshot. That basically he's been involved with various operations and covert and above board activities with the agency, so I'm assuming CIA, and that his activities have come under constant scrutiny. His whereabouts have been certainly difficult to ascertain. That is not great. So basically, he's kind of been going rogue with the CIA, which makes sense that he's getting involved in what this is with Borrasca. So Martin wants to know a little bit more. Let's leave that there for now. So this meeting that Lucia has set up for Tubbs and Switek starts off a little intimidating as their heads are covered with bags and they're led to a random house with pink walls and a shirtless Borrasca, who I have put as the cover photo for my gallery this week. And then we have a great dressed goon behind him with a hat and some gold chains, sunglasses on the hat. They assume that they killed Ramos, because remember, they were going to meet with Ramos to try to get in, blah, blah, blah. Ramos was shot. They don't know what happened. So Tubbs needs to think on his feet. So this is what he ends up blurting out.
Hey, man, what a misunderstanding. Look, it ain't no money. We're what you call middlemen. I didn't want you to know who he is. He's a commie, a Cuban. Look, we just figured, man, if El Martillo knew that our buyer was a Cuban, that he wouldn't want a deal. We know your politics, so we thought it was us.
That's so.
Yeah, Havana greenbacks all the way.
Maybe we not kill you then.
Well, since Tubbs backed himself into a corner, again, to save their lives, fair, as one would do, they need to now look for a cop to play the part. They actually decide to just use Castillo instead, that they wouldn't know who he is. He could play the part of the Cuban buyer, middleman, and try to work in and get a little bit more information. This guy has popped up twice in this season. And he's blonde, handsome. Obviously, he's not Don Johnson. But I kind of just wonder, it was like, hey, all right, come on, Don's not in this episode. We just need you to kind of be there. He's in the meeting. He's when the wire is set up later on the episode. And they focus on him opening the door when they cut back to OCB from the house. So just seems a little weird. Then also we check in with Gina, who has some information on how Ramos was killed, but it's nothing new to Castillo.
Ramos, Lieutenant. Death by gunshot. Spine wound, 1 round.
9mm.
Yeah. No, there was no
Rifling marks on the bullet. Less tissue damage than one would expect.
Yeah, Castillo definitely knows who this is and knows it is not an amateur job. But before we'll get to that, let's check in on, let's get down to the club. We're going to modern Paris, Paris modern, who knows? We see there's Tubbs, Castillo, Borrasca, and some goons along with Lucia, looking gorgeous as always. Castillo is very polite, very excited to meet Lucia, very respectful towards her. when they all start talking a little bit of business, but when Tubbs and Lucia are standing looking quite happy, Borrasca and his goons are shooting them a look if eyes could kill. And you can definitely see it in the gallery. And again, we get another one of the weird zooms. Well, it does highlight that Borrasca and his goon are zooming in on them. Then we go to, again, Castillo's beautiful house where he is just sitting alone, eating in the darkness. No music, no TV, not a candle, just dark existential dinner vibes. He hears someone enter. He knows exactly who it is and tells this person that they're not welcome. Surprise, surprise, it's Reese. Reese makes a racist comment about the food that Martin is enjoying and then wastes no time and no pretense as to what he's doing here and what he's done.
Los Doramas and you killed him.
Well, hell, it's not like I tried to cover up or anything. 9 mil, smooth bore, subsonic round. I'd had to give you an invite plenty more fair than that, boy.
You shouldn't have put the woman in this position.
It's a dirty business, man, okay? I live with it. America. Somebody's got to look out for it. You quit.
Wow, I gasped when he said that in this scene. I was like, oh. Even in my notes, I just have, ooh.
Back away from Artio. I'll give them to you later. I'll give you the dope, the ship, this whole little band of maniacs.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't have to be asking you these things. Look, I'll tell you who they sell it to, okay? That way, when they go back home and fight the commies, you can take the dope off of whoever buys it. That's a good deal, ain't it? Gives you what you want, helps keep America strong.
Country has nothing to do with it.
You know what goes into making these decisions. A lot of good men trying to do the right thing. And the right thing sometimes makes you feel dirty. So all those good men, give it to a guy like me. A guy who lives in the dirt. That's the trouble with always trying to do the right thing, Marty. Sometimes the right thing smells bad.
Yeah, the talking with his mouth full, eating his food after, like, kind of insulting it and being racist, trying to talk badly about Castillo because he didn't keep working in the same capacity that he used to, maybe because he saw the atrocities of what was going on. It's this whole thing, and the fact that he's so set on preventing anything from happening with Borrasca, and you definitely know it's not for the good of, like he said it's for the good of the country, but like we definitely know that's not it. We saw his file. Yeah, this guy keeps doing that all throughout the episode, so he will be back soon. But until then, Tubbs is getting a wire. But remember in season 1 when that wire went awry and started playing that instrumental version of Heartbreaker by Pat Benatar? This one's a little bit more high-tech and in a little different of a place.
Yeah, the wire's for you, the bird dog's for the car. We're talking maybe 3 miles max range here. Bug in the car is just a transponder. Your wire is a voice-activated transmitter. We're on the body, someplace nobody's gonna look.
That scene also included a joke about an Irish astronaut, but I couldn't hear the rest of it aside from like the first 2 sentences. It transitioned to the score, and then also it just sounds like the sound editing's really bad. Like it was very low to pick up. So I'm sorry. I hope it was a very funny joke. I couldn't hear the punchline. But while Tubbs is getting his wire where the sun don't shine, wink, wink, guess who comes back as Castillo is trying to call around to government agencies to see what clearance authority say Reese actually has in this case, Reese comes by to visit. This scene also just like really creeped me out.
Nothing. Ain't that a bitch? Never get an answer when you need one. You had them cut me out. Just have a little fun with you, Marty. I knew you'd call. Decided to throw a few tacks in the road. Take this deal with Martillo, right? I asked for your cooperation. I know I won't get it. Sure enough, you got your guys out there right now playing John Wayne. We're gonna come down hard on you for that one.
This guy's a really good actor, I'll say that. And he once again gets in Castillo's face, tries to be super intimidating, and then pulls out a gun and tries to declare this.
I want to stop Martillo. I'm gonna take him to trial. That option does not exist. You're in trouble, Marty. You're married to your own little system of scales and balances. Let me tell you something, son. I am justice. I define it. I control it. You got a problem with that? Maybe you ought to terminate my contract. You won't do nothing. Don't worry if I'm sanctioned or not. Doesn't matter, does it?
Oh, my heart really does go to Castillo at this moment. Doing the right thing, following the rules, and trying to do what's best doesn't always work. And it's a really crappy feeling to see something like this go down. I feel a lot of sympathy for Castillo, and I really want to see how he pushes back. So the deal is about to go on. I got a great shot of Borrasca in between someone's hand on their hip. We get another great gif of Tubbs testing the cocaine and then dropping the knife. Again, I also made it because the goon wearing a vest and a fedora and smoking a cigarette while doing this deal. Just amazing. So as this is all about to go down, party is over as Vice raids the deal. Borrasca looks like he might actually get caught until...
Reese, you can't do this! Come on, Martillo! Who are you? You're guardian angel! Come with me and go free! Stay with them! Hurry! He's a murderer! He's in the red! What the hell kind of man are you, Reese? Come on!
I did edit out the shots being fired, so that is another reason why Vice is kind of, putting their hands in their pockets. There's not much they can do. They're being fired at. Much more ammunition and power than they have against a guy in a helicopter with a machine gun. And you have Reese, who is very trained, very well trained in all kinds of shooting. So unfortunately, they kind of know that they can't really go against him. So as Borrasca jumps in the helicopter, he begins to take off. We see a red dot on Borrasca's chest. Borrasca pulls out a handgun. It is too late. Shot fired. Borrasca's dead. Interesting. Let's pause on that for a minute and think about what could have happened. Our final scene, Castillo, once again, sitting in the dark, facing out. Nice pot of tea. Tubbs comes to talk to him. Both their backs are turned to the camera, which I like. That's kind of like a cool That is a cool staging shot. I actually appreciate that. For all the smack I've been talking this entire episode, I'll say one nice thing. Tubbs kind of gives him the rundown as to what happened and why Borrasca is no longer with us.
It's already had Martillo on the chopper when the shot came in, Lieutenant. Someone. We don't know who stopped him from escaping.
I know.
I just wanted to bring you up to date.
Stay. I've always tried to do what's right. That's a code I live by. Do you understand that?
Yes.
As he says that, as the wheels start to turn, we all kind of get what he's alluding to. The final shot of the episode is a freeze on Castillo, slightly smiling, looking up. That's the episode. Now let's break it down. Let's get into fashion. All right, so for best dressed guy, I chose best undressed as Borrasca in this scene where Tubbs and Switek are taken to the house. The slicked back curly hair, shirtless, completely ripped, with very high-waisted pants and a belt. That's just a whole look. And then we have Delicart. I wasn't able to get a good photo of it, or maybe I deleted it, but instead of having a tie bar, it was like a tie chain around the Windsor knot at the top, which I really liked. I just really liked the blue with the beige, with the yellow. Personality, not so much, but I also loved his lady companion, and I think it's actually 2 snake cuffs that she has in her arm, or one very large one. But just looking at where the endings are, I think it's 2. So kudos to them. I really like that outfit before he gets shut up in the street. Best dressed woman, Lucia, going on the boat in full nightclub attire is a choice, and a brave choice, because sometimes the grates on the boat, your heel would get stuck in them. So kudos to her. She's so gorgeous. Every scene she's in, I totally understand. She is so beautiful. Best dressed woman as well. I chose Trudy on the scene of the beach with that bustier, where she just looks like $1,000,000. For wild cards, I have 2. It's the same goon who pops up. This guy with the fedora, the cigarette. The other one I really like, it was really hard to get a good photo of this, but when Switek and Tubbs are walking and Switek goes off to make that phone call, there's a kid in the cropped, it's like, you know, like a crop top is just like a little bit shaved off and shows your belly button. This just basically shows his whole torso, except for maybe it goes like right under his nipples. It is wild. And you can see that he's sitting on the parking meter, which is really funny. This is going to be a little fashion music segue because I did not add the clip of Sinead O'Connor's I Want Your Hands on Me in the club. And the way that we're introduced to that song is we have a bunch of dancers all painted. This also kind of felt like a ripoff of To Live and Die in LA, which kind of funny because I mentioned that lawsuit earlier. I was like, this is definitely the ripoff. But here's the song. Rest in peace, Sinead O'Connor. However, for music, definitely going to go with Dogs of War by Pink Floyd. That was just a great cold open song, fit within the theme of the episode. Solid choice all the way. Now, Vice Tea, like I said, I didn't really have any. I might have missed something over, but nothing really too scandalous. The one reminder is that I've had Salvador the movie by Oliver Stone to watch on my list forever, and Borrasca's in it. And yeah, so maybe I'll actually get around to renting it now that I'll have a little bit of downtime from work. So that is the Vice Tea I have. The actress who played Lucia is a very well-known, prominent Mexican actress, Brian James, who was Reese, passed away in 1999, but illustrious career as a character actor. Really good in this episode, if I so say so myself. And yeah, again, touching back on, I could not find why Don Johnson was not in this episode. I'll do a little bit more digging. If I find out, I will update you. Now, let's close out the episode with our quote of the episode. Clip 1, when the New Yorker and Tubbs comes out to play.
We don't do business with you two.
Never do that again. You understand? Let me tell you something, friend. Some street punk in New York touched me there once. You know what I did? I had to carve a new face for that sucker.
Quote 2.
Getting hot in this outfit.
Yeah, but you look good.
Quote 3.
There's only 500,000 here. It's plenty for you, peons.
Ooh, my choice. I'm going to go with, as we say, an activated Tubbs. Quote 1.
We don't do business with you two.
Never do that again. You understand? Let me tell you something, friend. Some street punk in New York touched me there once. You know what I did? I had to carve a new face for that sucker.
That is the energy I want you to bring into the weekend. And with that, we are wrapping up season 5, episode 5, Borrasca, for this episode of Vice and Easy. I want to thank each and every one of you again for liking, for subscribing, for leaving 5-star reviews, for following me on all things social at Vice and Easy Podcast, for liking, for following, for subscribing. Thank you, each and every one of you again. I'll be back with episode 6 of season 5, In the Line of Fire. Have a great weekend. Take care. And as always,
hey man, Miami Vice is #1 new show.